Although he might look like a rabbit, he is a dog. Please don't fine us that much money.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the vlog today on this beautiful afternoon. Today, we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic. Now, that topic is Australian laws that confuse Brits. Now, we say this because these are laws that, one, we've probably never heard of before researching these, or been told, or noticing them since we've moved here.
True.
And what better way to go through this list than with our pen microphone holder today? I think that's very on point. What do you think?
I think it's definitely... it's on brand.
It is, isn't it?
It's on brand. Usually a law has been written, and today we're using a pen to represent that.
There we go. Signed by us.
Beautiful. And as we get into today's video, I want to preference by saying, if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe, as we do a collection of different videos as Brit living in Australia. Videos like today, doing top 10 countdowns, but we might also go and try some food on the channel. And as of watching this video, Cody's sister would have arrived in Australia, so we will be showing one of our family members around why we think this is one of the best countries in the world. Starting
off the list with law number one, and that is a recent law that's literally just come in Australia, and that is the social media ban for under 16s. Now, this is quite confusing to us Brits right now, but we are aware that this is something that they could implement in the UK as well pretty soon. But for the time being, no law has been introduced in the UK, so if you was to say this to somebody right now in the UK, they would be like, really? How are they going to monitor that? Let's see what happens with that one. This might be a crazy one, but the UK have also implemented some crazy laws this year, just like they had digital IDs.
Very true. Very odd. What's going on? The second law that we actually found out that did confuse us is the fact that jaywalking is actually illegal here in every state and territory in Australia. From what we researched, apparently if you cross within 20 metres of a middle island or a crossroads in Australia, you can actually get fined, and the fines can vary on the state or territory that you're actually in. Along with this, if you're also stood at a pedestrian crossing and the red sign with a red person is being shown and you walk across, this is also a finable offence. Now, when it comes to crossing with a middle island, I don't think that jaywalking in the UK is... I've never heard of a finable offence being given for that. I'm not too sure about crossing when you're at a crossing with a red light. Maybe that's finable, but also it's never really done in the UK the same way it isn't here, so you would probably never offer out fines. But from what we understand, jaywalking is not something that is even considered a crime or a finable offence in the UK. But from what we've researched, it is in Australia. I did hear about the term jaywalking, but I didn't know it was prevalent to Australia. When I heard about it, I thought it was only prevalent to America.
Law number three is mandatory cycle helmets. Now, coming from the UK, it is not mandatory to cycle with a helmet on. Of course, it's much safer too, you'd want to, but you do see a lot more people riding without one on. But here in Australia, you do see that everybody's wearing the helmets, not so much the law, but also the magpies.
Very true.
That's like, you wouldn't want to not wear one.
Good point.
When we first moved here, I was riding a bike just down the road, unbeknownst to this law, and I was riding without a helmet. But because of you guys in the vlog, you let us know pretty early, and I haven't made that mistake since. And typical, when I did do that, I also got swooped by the magpies. So as a Brit who knew the birds would be enforcing the laws around here, eh?
They're very strict. Don't mess around with them. Law number 4 on the list is the public drinking ban. From what we researched, this one is quite prevalent in Queensland, but I actually struggled to find regional laws on this. Certain places said that the severity of the law is implemented in different areas, more significant in certain spots than others. From what we've researched, there are apparently designated wet areas, which sound not too appealing to go to, but apparently these would be spots where you could actually go in public and sit and drink. These aren't actually something that we've experienced or done in Australia, as me and Cody aren't the biggest drinkers. But who knows, there's a potential for a future video in that. Getting sloshed in a wet area.
Do they say that word, sloshed, in Australia?
Sloshed, yeah, so that would mean drunk. Would you say that in Australia? This comment section is going to be very lively today. But jumping back onto that point, it wouldn't be uncommon in parks or beaches in the UK during the summer to see people with drinks in these places. But we've been in certain locations where we've been with family who have made the mistake of having a drink, walking off premises onto maybe a grassy verge where they would sit down in the UK. And the people from the premises where they've got the drink have said, could you please come back onto site as it's illegal? This really does throw Brits the idea of not being able to drink not in public, but the ideas of the law being so strict is a lot more prevalent here in Australia. But let me know in the comment section. I imagine this law can vary quite a lot depending on the area you are. Is it more strict in Tasmania? Is it more loose? Maybe you're up in Northern Territory and it's like really strict there. And again, for the big cities, is it a bit more kind of enforced here? So yeah, let me know in the comment section. What's the deal with the certain drinking bans?
Law number 5 is swearing in public can be a finable offence. Now, you guys might need to let us know in the comments, does this really happen and how common? I'm guessing if you are being a nuisance in public, this would, you know, they would have to do something about it. So maybe if you're outwardly swearing, there might be families coming past, the police would have to do something about it. I think if you just swore, like to yourself, would that still be a thing?
I suppose context would be a massive thing if you stubbed your toe and said it rather than shouting and pointing at somebody. So yeah, let us know. It's a good question. Point number 6 on the list is another one that we fell into the trap of doing, and that's parking against the flow of traffic. I'm beginning to realise that this whole video is just us self-incriminating ourselves, but if there is anybody watching who is law enforcement, we were blissfully unaware, and once we found out, we've never done it again. So please, don't arrest us. We've got a lot of videos we want to make. Cody's sister's not long off coming. But jumping back onto the law in question, parking against the flow of traffic is something that is commonly done in the UK, and when we came over here, we actually made the mistake of doing it. We didn't clock on to the idea that every car is parked on the left if it's on the left, and the same for the right. And when I mentioned to our certain Australian friends that when I did my driving test, one of the manoeuvres I actually did was to pull up on the right and then pulled away from that side of the road, it blows Australians' mind that it is actually on a UK driving test to park in on the right-hand side. When you come to Australia, no, you're in trouble if you do it. Who would have thought?
Law number 7 is compulsory voting. Now, this is quite a big culture shock coming from the UK because to vote, it is a right, not a law.
Yeah.
However, from what we've researched here in Australia, if you are a citizen, it's a fine through the door, isn't it?
Apparently so.
Now, I wonder if this does vary in certain states. You guys in the comments might have to let us know with that one. But yeah, this one was just a real interesting one. Didn't know that about Australia.
Law number 8 on the list is actually a firework ban. In the UK, it is commonplace around 2 points of the year, bonfire night and New Year's Eve, where people would go to the supermarkets and buy boxes of rockets, sparklers, Catherine wheels, all the likes, you name it. You are able to go into a shop, buy all the fireworks you could ever want, and bring them home. Growing up in the north of England, it would be commonplace around bonfire night and New Year's Eve to go to a friend or a family member's house. People would pitch in money for the fireworks. One person would be the designated person to go to the supermarket, buy as much as they could for the money that they had kind of gathered up, and then you would stand with the fireworks in the back garden and set them off. Whereas in Australia, you actually need a pyrotechnics licence to hold or handle fireworks. Now, growing up, there has been a few incidences where there was near misses from fireworks that probably weren't set up by professionals, and also burning your hand on a sparkler. I actually agree with this one, and it probably stops a lot of incidents as kids, burning yourself. So yeah, it's a pretty smart one. But when researching for this video, from what I actually found out, I think ACT, Australian Central Territory, is that Canberra, it's actually legal to own fireworks there. So let me know, what is the limit? Could you buy them in Canberra and take them out, or is that arrestable? It really can be quite confusing when different states and territories have different laws that you can abide by or get arrested for if you step one step to the left. Interesting.
Law number 9 is the pharmacy-only vape laws. We have actually had an experience with our family when Joe's mum came over, who does smoke a vape, because in the UK, you can actually just buy these from regular vape shops on the street. So there's vape shops everywhere in the UK. Everyone's got one. There's that many people these days that have given up smoking, which I guess is a positive. But from what we know, you can only get vapes here in Australia from a pharmacist with a prescription. Interesting.
And the final point on the list is a regional one, but it's one that I had to mention as it's the inspiration for today's video. That law is the regional law to Queensland, which is the 0 bunnies allowed. In the UK growing up, it is commonplace to have a little bunny rabbit as a pet. I know I had 3 growing up.
I had 2.
But growing up in Queensland, that wouldn't have been the case, as they are actually illegal to own as pets. I was speaking to my sister on the phone and mentioned this, and her jaw nearly hit the floor. Unsure of what the reasoning behind it was, I began to explain and realised, wait, I know this exists, but I don't know why it exists. Did a bit more research into it and thought, This would be a great video idea. Hence, ta-da! Here's today's video. From what I researched, it is a finable offence in Queensland with the extreme cases of a maximum penalty going up to $80,000. Wow.
What?
Once again, if there's anybody watching, although he might look like a rabbit, he is a dog. Please don't fine us that much money.
Whoa.
I do believe there are a few other animals that are on the list. I think ferrets, I think hamsters, I think a few other pets that people class as rodents are also on the list. But with this one in mind, being so regional and specific to Queensland and other places in Australia allowing rabbits, let us know in the comment sections, where are you from and are there any regional laws that are so peculiar but only specific to certain areas in Australia?
And so that has been our 10 points for today's video. This has been a really good discussion. I would love to know if there's any Australian citizens watching this that didn't know that any of these laws existed. So interesting.
Commenting, I need to know this.
However, we just want to say a big thank you to the members. You guys are wonderful, and to anybody that has bought a Venture Club t-shirt or a cap. Where's your cap? We just want to say a big thank you. And yes, my sister has now officially set off and she will be here very, very soon. So you'll see her in the next video and we've got lots of adventures to come. So see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Adios.